Taking it to the worldwide stage, I'm Alma Musique. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's Friday. I don't have much to say, but I come to you just to remind you of the Beatles lyrics that says, know where you can be that isn't where you're meant to be. It's easy. And that comes from the song, All You Need Is Love. My name is Alma, and Alma in Spanish means soul. So I'm coming to you straight up, no AI, this is real. All we need is love. You know, we need to touch somebody. Where are the people? Don't be lonely. Reach out and touch somebody. If you need to be around some people, get around some people. I know we're all wondering, where are the people today, right? I'm wondering that too. You know, I've spent years and years, decades, talking on the radio, in a studio by myself, talking to hundreds of thousands of people that I couldn't see and I couldn't touch. You know, talking virtually to myself the way I'm doing right now, but hoping that I'm reaching somebody. But it's not the same. It's really not the same like when you're actually touching somebody. I had to move my camera so you can see the chair behind me. It matches my outfit. It's a lonely world with all the technology we've got, you know. Where are the people? We're going to be talking about that. So I wanted to come out to you, to reach out to you, to know that I'm here. You can hear me here on this space, Alma Musique, on your new YouTube channel. I want to thank you for encouraging me. If you have a dream, make it happen. Today is the day to make your dreams happen. Start. You know, when I think some things are difficult and I become overwhelmed, and we all do, we think that the task ahead is just way too much. How am I going to be able to accomplish this? In my life, I've learned to adapt, no, not adapt, adopt, to adopt the ant mentality. So what's that? One little grain of sand at a time. And with one little grain of sand at a time that they carry on their backs, they're able to build a whole anthill, a whole community inside that anthill, okay, where they can inhabit that, hundreds and who knows how many of them in that anthill, maybe thousands of them, okay, in that ant colony, one little grain of sand at a time. So adapt that ant mentality today if you need to. If you think the task ahead is just too overwhelming, just take it one little step at a time, one breath at a time, one grain of sand at a time. And it just is so important to do it, even if it's one grain of sand at a time. That's what it takes. Sometimes that's all we can do. But do that. Make your goals happen. I made mine happen. Sometimes I think I've got nothing to say, but I've got so much to say, right? Because if I wanted to be here a while with you today, why not? I've got time. Do you have time? Do you have time? Well, good. Because I've got so much to say from when I started, you know, as many of us have, single mom household. I'm not going to say poor because I never felt that I lacked for anything, but I know that we were under that poverty income line. That didn't matter. I felt rich. I felt so rich. And one of my favorite things to do was to dress up, just dress up and dance around the living room to television. because that's all we had back then. You know, I used to dance like Edith Chacon. I used to dress up however I could with whatever I found in my mom's closet. Put on her makeup, you know, and just go to town. And it was in my imagination that I learned that I wanted to be in entertainment. That's what drove me. And today, even still today, that's what makes me the happiest, is when I'm dressing up and I'm entertaining. Even if it's to an audience I can't see, even if there's no one else in the room, that's what makes me happy. So whatever makes you happy, and it's been a dream and you haven't been able to get to it yet, and maybe you're in your 60s like I am now. I'm 61. I was built in 61, you know? Yes. So one grain of sand at a time, it brings us so much joy, and joy brings health and happiness. The difference between joy and happiness, right? Joy is something that lives within permanently. Happiness could be momentarily. You know, we're not always happy. We're not always in a happy mood. But that joy that we've got inside, no one can steal that. That's the joy we carry. And what brings the joy? The satisfaction. And mostly in ourselves, being proud of our own accomplishments, that brings joy. Knowing that we have overcome obstacles, knowing that we have been able to just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And being so grateful, being so grateful. I worked at a radio station in Ocala, Florida. It was a country music radio station, Thunder Country. And I had the privilege, because I consider it to be a privilege, of working under this general manager's name. His name is John Rutledge. He may be in heaven already, because he was already in advanced years when I worked for him, and that was in the early 90s, early to mid 90s. And Mr. John Rutledge, every single morning, he would come to work and he'd say, "Hi, John. Good morning. How are you?" And he'd say, "I'm fine, TJ," because that was my name in country music radio. He gave it to me, TJ West. "I'm fine, TJ. Today is a great day. Miracles shall follow miracle, and wonders shall never cease." And I'll always remember that. He would say that every single morning. That was his greeting. It never changed. And I worked for him for 5 years, and it never, ever, ever, ever changed. That was his morning greeting. Never changed it. So you knew what to expect. But you always said, "Good morning, John. How are you?" And he would always answer the same way. "I'm feeling great, TJ. Today is a great day. Miracles shall follow miracle, and wonders shall never cease." And I asked him, "So John, why do you say that? When did you start saying that?" And he didn't really answer that question, but I later on found out through another coworker who had suffered a miscarriage. And that coworker and he had that in common, because his wife had, actually it wasn't a miscarriage, they had the baby, and the baby had died at birth, I believe. It was something, or had died as an infant, very, very young. And they both had that in common. So it was after a very, very sad experience that he adopted that mentality, because he realized, and maybe I'm talking about people's personal business, and I apologize if I'm stepping on anybody's toes. Well, I apologize about that. I don't know if it's okay to do that. See, these are all of the new things that you have to learn when you become a YouTuber and a content creator is you have to know what's good to say and what's not good to say. Oops. Well, they were very advanced in years, and I'm sure that maybe they're not around to hear this, and that's very sad, actually. I wish I could go back to him now and tell him how much I appreciated him and what a big difference he made in my life. Those words have stuck with me, and that was in the 90s, early to mid 90s, and here it is 2023. And that is here. It rings in my head. So even after a very sad experience, okay, he was able to, again, adopt that mentality. It's that phrase, it's those words, it's that attitude, you know, that helped him get through every single day. And he realized that even though it was very sad what happened to him and his wife, there was a miracle in it. Because there's always a miracle. There's always a miracle. We just have to find it. You know, Easter is coming up April 9th, and I think this year Easter, Passover, and Ramadan all fall on the same day, the same time. That's an eventful, not coincidence happening. There's a reason why. We don't always know the reason, but there is synchronicity and there are miracles and grace and divine magic, if you want to call it, divine influence, divine reality behind our situations. And as difficult as it may be, whatever you're going through, I assure you that there's a miracle behind it. You may not see it right away. It may take time to find it. But I assure you that it may not only be one miracle, but many that you will find. And wonders shall never cease in your life. Today, I wish you the best. Know that you are so loved. And thank you for being here with me. See you soon.